Hi guys, welcome back. So in my previous video I've been talking about all the things that surprised me since I moved to Geneva in the roughly first 2 years that I've lived here. You can find a link somewhere here if I manage to link it. I've never done that before. But thinking of that video made me ask myself, why should you even care? Is Switzerland that important? Is Switzerland that great? Well, here we're going to check. We're going to see if it really is as good as so many people say. We're going to look at some numbers from reputable sources, and then we're going to look at some real-life examples. You will be the judge of how great Switzerland actually is. So if you're interested, please keep watching. First, in case we haven't met yet, my name is Miko and this is my channel Miko PS, where I talk about living in Switzerland, the expat life, and everything you need to know before moving to Switzerland. So if you're interested in moving here, or if you are just curious what are the pros and cons of Switzerland, please click the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications. This way, if I make any of my future videos, you will be notified. The agenda for today. First, we're going to look at some statistics, rankings, and indexes and what they say about the quality of life in Switzerland. Then we're going to look at some real-life examples. We're going to check the freshness of the air and the cleanness in Geneva. We're going to compare meat and apples and water to those in France or the rest of Europe. Switzerland has quite a good reputation for the standard of living. I'm going to help myself here a little bit. Let's start with the UN Human Development Index. It talks about the education, life expectancy, and income per capita indicators. Here, Switzerland ranks number 2 in the world. You can see the list here. Next, you have the World Happiness Report. Here, as you can see, Switzerland ranks number 6 in the world. Then you have the Social Progress Index, Switzerland ranking number 3. What they measure here is the extent to which the country provides for social and environmental needs of its citizens. Then you have nominal GDP per capita, also second, as you can see in the list right here. So we talked a little bit about the statistics and what is the general image. Switzerland ranks top in all the indicators, with often the Nordic countries ranking above it. What is important to note that there is also the climate factor to take into consideration. The weather on average is much sunnier. There is much less overcast and rainy days in Switzerland compared to the Nordic countries. So that's an important factor to also take into consideration. Welcome to the more practical part of this experiment. Since I came here, what I witnessed is that part of the argument that living in Switzerland is so great is that items and services in Switzerland are just of better quality than anywhere else in the world. And there really is this obsession in Switzerland shared by both locals and people who emigrated here. So you'll often see that the Swiss Coca-Cola is produced in Switzerland, that toilet paper is produced in Switzerland. There's even a truck by a hotel here that I live not very far from that says that everything was washed in Switzerland, with this kind of underlying idea that if something is made or produced or performed in Switzerland, it's just better than anywhere else in the world. Maybe this would make sense for me for watches or chocolate, but to extend it to toilet paper and Coca-Cola and meat and apples, it's a little bit tricky. So what we're going to do today is a completely subjective test.
Number one!
In the example I gave you before, I told you about some people that I met in the very beginning when I came here, and they said that they never do groceries in France, even though it's 2 or 3 times cheaper, because the French apple is simply not as good as the Swiss apple. Let's test that. And as I said, for all the statisticians, this is a completely subjective test. I'm not going to test 200 or 1,000 apples, but I am going to run to a cup downstairs and then to a supermarket in France to test this idea. It would be great if you join me. the apple test. This is the French apple. It is 2.55 euro per kilogram, so this apple is actually 41 euro cents. This is the Swiss apple, 3 francs 80 per kilogram, so this apple is worth 65 cents. There you go, 41, 50, 65 cents. So let's see if there's actually any difference. It's actually delicious. Exactly the type of apple I like the most. Let's see for this one. Really good. But still, in the test of apples, France is winning. France 1, Switzerland 0.
Okay, next up.
The clean air test.
Fresh air.
The alpine air is just amazingly fresh. There is nothing like it. Another point for Switzerland. So now, as we have the apples out of the way, let's proceed to the Coca-Cola test. I'm gonna run downstairs to a supermarket to get a bottle of Swiss Cola, and we're also gonna go to a supermarket in France to buy a bottle of the Swiss Cola. So off we go. Now we're going to talk about Coca-Cola. We have 2 glasses, French cola. Actually, it doesn't really say where it's produced. I really had a look, and it's produced somewhere in the EU. So we'll just say EU cola versus Swiss cola. As you can see here, along with the Swiss obsession, it is produced in Switzerland. No doubts about that. Obviously, you can see that this one is like tiny for like toddler cola. It's not funny, toddlers shouldn't have cola, I guess. Probably has something to do with sugar regulations. This is 250, this is 450 in size. Let's see if there is any difference in taste. Once again, Swiss, EU. This one tastes a little bit watered down compared to what I had as a kid, I think. But so does this one, to be honest. I think the only considerable difference that I see is that the bubbles and the Swiss one are a little bit more intense. Otherwise, not really a difference, except for the price and the fact that it says that it's made in Switzerland. Which is always nice to support the local economy, you know, but with the Coca-Cola, I think we can easily call it a tie, and no. Next up, the pavement test. Let's see how clean is it exactly here in Geneva. Wow, as you can see, that's actually pretty impressive. These are probably the cleanest pavements I've seen in my life. And yeah, now it makes sense to me. Like, as I was a kid and I was watching those movies, and they all had those mint white, super white Nikes. They never got dirty. Yeah, if you live in a country like this can actually happen. The pavement test, 1 for Switzerland, 0 the rest of the world. A big part of what makes Switzerland so great is how well it's organized. And to take an example of how well exactly it is organized, I wanted to have a look at how the trains functions. So we're gonna run to the train station and see exactly how precise and on time the trains are. So as you can see, we're here on sector 2 of sector D of platform 2. It's a train for Geneva Airport that should be leaving 7:52. It is 7:52, it so happens. And let's see what happens exactly. And the doors close. And 7:52. Off he goes. There you go, it's not unexpected. The trains work perfectly and they are rarely late, and they're probably the best service of trains in the world. What is important to be noted is that they're extremely expensive. It's when I fly wherever, let's say to Poland, I usually pay twice as or 3 times as much for the train to get me to Basel than for the actual plane ride back home. But well, that's, I guess, the price that you pay for the quality. And next, as promised, the test of water. We're gonna be testing bottled water from France, got it in the supermarket, versus tap water here in Switzerland. We have 1 glass, we have 2 glasses, there you go. Once again, it's a completely subjective test. I bought a bottle of bottled French water of a known brand. I'm gonna pour it here, and we're gonna test it over some tap water. From a Swiss tap. And yeah, there we go. There isn't actually any difference, to be honest. And you pay a good buck for this. Well, people can say water is just water, but actually water can be sometimes really disgusting tasting. I've been to the States not long ago and I love a lot of things about the States, but the water really tastes like chloride, and that's really disgusting. You can completely not get it here. Yeah, same, maybe a little slight difference towards actually the tap water, and it's free because it's in the tap, whereas this is bottled. So definitely point for Switzerland, nil rest of the world. Next, the hamburger test, and this is a big one for me. I remember coming here, we went for burgers with a couple of people. Then there was this whole story, is this burger meat 100%? We asked the waiter and it turned out the beef was 95% Swiss, and my friend was like, oh, I knew it. So I really want to see probably the most standardized burger in the world. That's a cheeseburger from McDonald's. We're gonna test this one. Nastya, do you wanna go with me to test cheeseburgers from Switzerland and France?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, cool. So, we're gonna drive to 1 McDonald's in France, 1 in Switzerland, and we're gonna see how they compare.
So, the Swiss one and the French one.
Okay, generally they're the same. This is the Swiss one, right?
This is the Swiss one.
Okay, and the French one?
But the same. The Swiss is much more generous in ketchup. Okay, good try. It's really good. Try this one. I don't think there's a difference, I think. The aftertaste of it is better, I think. Oh, this Swiss one.
This one is quite decent. I haven't gotten to the pickles though, which is a shame because I love them.
Okay.
So good. Now I'm trying the Swiss one.
So you have to slightly better, no?
Well, to make this experiment completely unbiased, can't really, because the Swiss one is actually still warm, which probably also impacts the quality of the taste.
And this is like five minutes old, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, as soon as fast food is a little bit cold, it's not that great anymore. In terms of everything else, this is the French one and this is the Swiss one. I'd say they're quite similar. To be honest, I don't see any difference. I could say the meat tastes a little bit differently. Sometimes in McDonald's, in Swiss McDonald's, they say where the meat originates from. So maybe we can find a plot like this here and see where this meat is from.
We'll have a look, definitely. And this one was 2 francs. 2 francs with you.
See, like the burgers were not very different. We talked a little bit in the car still after on the way back And we figured at the end that the Swiss one was slightly better. There was a slightly better aftertaste. Taking into consideration the big difference in price, actually the difference in quality is almost negligible. And that wraps it for my subjective test of the quality of living in Switzerland. Of course, living in any country, it's so much more than just, the quality of the apple and the quality of the water and quality of cola and quality of the meat. Of course, the tests were completely subjective. But what I was trying to show is that Switzerland has pretty much everything figured out. It's a super clean, super well organized, very safe, very stable country. People look like $1 million, everybody looks great on the street, and they're pretty nice and polite and they smile. And it's a great place to be. You have the lakes and you have mountains, so you don't even have to travel during the weekend to feel like you're in a summer resort. And in the winter, you can drive an hour and be in a ski resort. The taxes are pretty low. Yeah, the prices are extremely high, but that's, I guess, something that you pay in exchange for the quality of everything. Life is quite effortless. And of course, Geneva has its downsides, but I think I can easily say that after looking in Poland and the Netherlands and Italy, I've also spent a lot of time in the UK and the US, I can really easily say that from my subjective point of view, this is very likely the best place in the world to live in. Wow, lucky us. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, it's really important to me. Leave a comment if you agree, if you disagree, if you do anything differently, please drop a comment. I'm really curious what you think, what outraged you in this video. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to see you in the next video. Ciao!